Okay, here we are at the brand new place of the Gibson Guitar Studios here in London West End. I'm here with two members of Black Star Riders, Damon Johnson, Ricky Warwick, who next February have got a new album out, Killer Instinct, on Nuclear Blast Records. Damon, Ricky, how are you two?
Great, man. It's good to see you.
It's good to be here.
Thanks for thanks for coming. We very much are enjoying talking about the new record. We're excited about it.
Excellent, and I think many fans will be surprised because it was only last year that you brought out All Hell Breaks Loose. So, what's given you the enthusiasm to bring out another album in under a year?
Well, we just felt like we were fortunate, to have a lot of good momentum, a lot of fan support, a lot of support in the rock press. Just the overall vibe of our debut album was very, very positive. And we did a lot of touring, and we want to continue to do that. We want to try and grow that and build it. And I think too, man, we just feel like we're more comfortable with who we are as a band. We know who we are now more than we did at the time we went in the studio to make the first album. There was a lot of uncertainty. There was a lot of who knows what's going to happen. So it just feels like a proper band now, and there's just a lot more confidence playing together. I think that's one of the things we got a lot of comments on today. The band is playing very well together.
I think that's the amazing thing about Black Star Riders, because it was only 2 years ago you were still continuing as Thin Lizzy as a touring band, and at the time there was a lot of hoo-ha, is Black Star Riders going to work, is it not going to work? Obviously it has worked. And is that what also gives you an extra push to, you have got something to prove?
I think you've always got something to prove. That's why you get out of bed in the morning. You got to prove stuff to yourself. We didn't know either. We knew that we made a good record with All Hell Breaks Loose. But once we let that go out to the universe, it was up to the people to decide what the future was for Black Star Riders. If they bought it, there's a future. If they didn't, there probably wouldn't have been a future. Thankfully they did. They supported us in their droves, and their loyalty has been fantastic, and it enabled us it gave us confidence as individuals and as a band to write, to play more shows, and to move this thing forward. And I feel, as David said, we've established our own identity, and we're forging ahead. And we've already got ideas for the next record. We're already thinking that far ahead and touring and playing, and we're all very happy. So, but that's thanks to the people that made it happen.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And what I find amazing is, not only has it only been a year, but you have been on the road constantly all last year, all over America and Europe. And so where did the writing process for your songs? Where did you find the time to write these songs?
I mean, you write them on the road. That's what we do. We're musicians. We're not, working a day job and then trying to come home and look after our families and then get 15 minutes at night to try and write the songs. This is what we do. I'm sorry, we're wrong, but tied any musicians. Well, I can't find the time to write. If you're being paid, if you're making a living as a full-time musician, you absolutely have the time to write songs, because that's what we do. You should have no excuse for never finding the time to write the songs. We write when we can, all the time. When there's breaks, there's always a guitar around, you pick it up, you work on something, you write, there's always material there.
And do you write individually or collectively as a band?
Both. Both.
Yeah, a lot of ideas, there's nothing set in stone. Ricky himself came up with a fair amount of, the initial ideas, even on guitar. The thing I like about writing with him is that he'll just have a guitar in his hand and he'll just be playing, not even thinking. And I'll go, hey, what was that? And he'll say, what was what? And I go, the thing you just played. And it just starts with that, just anything that catches your ear. And it's definitely an incredible asset for this band from the songwriting standpoint that, Ricky's so committed to lyrics, to great stories, to phrases, to concepts, to all of that. He's never without something to anything I come in with, and anything that Scott brings in, and he kind of spoils you, and that's another reason why we, when we knew, okay, we had at least on the calendar shooting for September or October to record, and straight away, man, right around February or March, earlier this year, we said, all right, let's start chiseling away, and man, it's a labor of love for us. It's not work. It's definitely, you got to stay on it. You got to be disciplined. But we love to write, man. definitely loved to write songs.
Fantastic. And you recorded the album in Nashville. And obviously it's famous for its country rock influences. So did that come off onto you? Was you tempted to put on a country track on there?
Not really.
No.
I think Scott, he thought about having a pedal steel on a couple of songs. No, man.
Scott does with every record we make.
Yeah. The old cowboy that he is. No, clearly the big connection there was, you know, I've lived in Nashville now for almost 2 years. And when it was determined that Joe Elliott was not going to be able to produce the album as had initially been planned, it was just strangely fortuitous that my wife and I had just recently met Nick Raskulinecz and his wife Amber, who also lived in Nashville. And he had just said, hey, yeah, man, I got a studio, and I just, you know, I did the Mastodon record out there, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, I called Ricky straight away and said, hey, man, this is a possibility. Should we pursue this? He goes, wow, if we could get that guy, that'd be great. So we just started, you know, with a simple phone call, and the discussions went from there.
Excellent. And fair enough, in the band's biography, this promotional thing, you talk about Rick. And you mentioned that he came running out of the sunset like a Viking warrior with his record collection and an arsenal of killer guitars and amplifiers. You know, you're making him sound like he's the man. Tell us about his record collection, you know.
He's definitely the man. That's my favorite quote. That's Ricky's favorite quote.
Vikings are known for their horsemanship, you know what I'm saying?
No, man, I mean, that Nick brings that kind of energy, man, that kind of just like, bro, we're doing this. It's going to be epic. You know, that's his whole body language and everything he says.
Is he a man that cracks the whip kind of thing?
Not at all. But he has a great work ethic. That's the way. We don't really need anybody to tell us that we've got work to do. You know, we're not lazy. We're not, we show up in the studio, whatever we know. I think I went out once in 4 weeks the whole time I was in Nashville. I went out one night.
Yeah, you know what, that's a great point you bring up, because it's not like he cracks the whip, but Nick has worked with so many established bands. He's worked with a lot of artists that have made a dozen albums, as have all of us, you know. So he knows there needs to be at least a tempo, there needs to be
time frame.
You know, like, okay guys, let's take a little break, get something to eat, back in here, we're gonna address these drum parts again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Every day, man, the guy completely was on top of this.
And would you say this new album, Killer Instinct, is a continuation from All Hell Breaks Loose, or have you moved in a different direction in some ways?
Yeah, both, you know. You know, you listen, it's all about chasing the music. It's all about writing the best riff, writing the best lyric, chasing it. That's all we do. It's not, we don't sit down and go, right, how do we take this to the next level? We go, right, how do we write a better song than the one we wrote yesterday? Or the one we wrote last year? And that's all we're doing. I mean, there's no deep thinking behind it. We're trying to write anthemic, great rock songs with great guitar licks and great choruses. And we get up and you just chase the music. And the day you catch it, the day you stop.
Fantastic. And before I talk about your touring plans next year, if you don't mind, I'd like you two to tell me the story behind every song on the album, because there's a lot of original title tracks now, actually. But start with the title track of the album, The Killer Instinct. Can you tell us about that song?
Yeah, you know, the idea came to me in the summer. We were on tour. It was Robbie Crane's first gig with us while we just joined the band. And we're playing at Holmfirth, the sold-out gig at Holmfirth up in Yorkshire. And we were all fired up, and we're in the dressing room. There's an acoustic guitar there, and I hear this riff in my head, sit down and play it at my usual breakneck punk rock speed. and Damon and Scott say, hey, it's a pretty cool riff, but we're playing it too fast. Slow it down and try doing this, which we did, and obviously it sounded better straight away. And that was it. It instantly, it was such a strong riff that it was one of those riffs that it worked in the verse, it worked in the chorus. Melody came into the head straight away, and then suddenly there was the, you know, I would watch that Muhammad Ali documentary about it, you know, him being the greatest heavyweight champion in the world, the adversity he overcame to be who he was and what he was. That gave me the title, The Killer Instinct.
Brilliant. And I love the title of this track, Bullet Blues.
Yeah, the cool thing about Bullet Blues is that came from the very first songwriting session that Ricky and I had way back in 2012, right?
Yeah.
2012, when we were writing for what we thought was going to be a Thin Lizzy album, we got together at Ricky's house in California, and I think there were 4 or 5 songs that came out of that first batch. And Bullet Blues didn't make it onto All Hell Breaks Loose. We had so many songs for that album that, for whatever reason, that song never made it out of just the acoustic demo version. But Nick really loved that song. He loved the riff, and you know, loved the energy of it. And you know, we were able to kind of drag Scott Gorham down, but definitely had some sprinklings of, you know, some of his past.
Yeah, of course.
Some Thin Lizzy elements in Bullet Blues that we're really proud of.
Brilliant. And tell us what the Finest Hour, what's that about?
It's about being young, about my first love. And what we were doing when we were 16 years old, trying to get the money to go and see bands playing in Glasgow, winning the old Glasgow Caller, beg, stealing, borrowing money, riding the bus in, and seeing these bands that we idolised and we loved. And you know, it's reaching out to that person and saying, hey, you know, do you remember those days? How you doing? How are things good in your world? You know, I haven't heard from you, but I'm reaching out to you through this song, and I want those good times. So I guess it's a love song.
No, I believe this must be behind your songwriting, Soldiers Town.
Yeah, I mean, Scott Gorham, you know, came in with that riff and melted our faces when he played it. And,
yes, he did.
You know, we're just like, whoa, you know, there's Scott Gorham right there. And it's such a great Celtic feel in that riff. The riff, to me, as they said, we don't need a chorus. That riff is the chorus. It's so huge. You don't need anything getting in the way of that, whatever. So then the challenge was to set about writing 10 verses. As you do. No, it was a story that evolved. I had an idea. I talked to a buddy of mine back in Belfast, a guy called Sam Robinson, and he threw some lyrical ideas my way, and we built upon that. And it became the verse of Soldiers Town about, you know, the eldest son going off to fight, whether it be for ISIS, you know, Afghan rebels, the paramilitaries, an army. Somebody coming along going, you know, it's about losing a finger to save the hand. You give us your strongest one, we want to attack your family if he joins up. So that's the premise behind that.
That's quite a strong subject.
It's a pretty deep song.
Yeah.
You know, it's dark.
And this is an interesting title, Charlie, I Gotta Go. You know, I'm sure it's not about going to the washroom.
No, you know, it's funny. It's quite simple. It's obviously about Charles Manson. You know, we mentioned the Ultimate Speedway in there. You know, if you listen to the verses, you'll understand what it's about. Basically, a guy who's joined into Manson's cult. You know, the freedom, the love, the whole expression that it gives him, the whole glamour of the whole thing, and he realizes it's going south pretty quickly. It's getting dark, it's getting weird, it's getting evil. The stuff goes down to Ultimate with the Hells Angels, the whole thing with Sharon Tate, and he sees it coming and he bails. He says, I'm out of here, this isn't what I signed up for. Charlie, you know, I'm done. This is peace and love, and you're scaring me, so I'm leaving.
Interesting. And there's an acoustic track, Blindsided.
Well, there's definitely acoustic guitar in Blindsided, but to me that is the epic track on the album. Hands down my favorite song out of the whole batch. And it's another song that started with a piece of music that Ricky had, and again, was it Cambridge? Wasn't that in Cambridge as well? I remember you were standing across the
We
window.
done it in Munich. We were writing up in that hotel room in Munich, did we not?
No, but we already. But
Oh,
you played that.
that.
You played that acoustic. Those two chords.
There you go.
He had the capo on the neck of his acoustic, and I remember we were working on some piece of gear, and I went, bro, what is that? And you go, that's just this thing I was messing about.
Well, honestly, I had that riff forever. I could never really do anything with it until, you know.
Well, it spoke to me like loudly, almost like a Pink Floyd "Wish You Were Here" or "Tuesday's Gone" by Lynyrd Skynyrd. That kind of just epicness, and I just said, dude, we're going to work on that. Don't forget that. We got to write that one.
Funny enough, you mentioned it earlier. Actually, you hear Ricky playing a riff, and you think, "Oh, Ricky, what's that?" So, Ricky, do you have a habit of just playing away riffs, and you think they're no good until somebody hears them, and you think, "Oh, man, we're having that."
I mean, you know, I'm bigging myself up here. I mean, you listen to my band, The Almighty. It's all about riffs. And I wrote those riffs. you know, I can write a mean riff. It's something that I do. And now I'm in a band with phenomenal guitar players, Damon Johnson, Scott Gorham. So when I play a riff, they're going, well, why don't you play it like this, or do that, or take it there, which takes it to a whole different level.
But it's special, you know, to be in a band with someone that writes as prolific as Ricky does, and that's just always thinking, always playing. And you know, that's the other thing too, man. The riffs on this album they're very powerful, and I think a lot of that is in the simplicity of them. Sometimes it's better to have a guy that isn't, you know, necessarily so technically proficient that he's going to put all this.
You've got to have a feeling of emotion in there,
it's all, anything that he plays, it's coming from that emotion, and more times than not, we'll keep the simplicity of his riff and then take it, you know, into another place.
Now, talking of emotions, food emotions.
Another Ricky. He played. I think you called me on the phone.
I did. I played it on the phone too.
Yeah, he called me and he goes, "Man, I got this riff. I just don't know. Maybe it's too simple." And I just instantly heard it as like a really hip, almost like a Black Keys, almost Arctic Monkeys kind of thing, man. It had this great vibe, just no brainer. And I just thought, man, if we could develop this, and I got to give Nick Raskulinix some credit, man, because he really helped the chorus explode on that. You know, if there's anything that he brought a little maybe Foo Fighters energy to the day, it was that song. Hands down, my wife's favorite song on the album.
Oh, fantastic.
About it. She loved it.
And every rock fan likes a title like this: Sex, Guns and Gasoline.
Yeah, it's an old one. That was one of the first songs we wrote for the first album, when we thought it was going to be a Lizzie album. You know, Scott Gorham riff, but we were all in the studio and we sort of wrote it. Went around the houses with it. I changed the lyrics for it a couple of times. David and I came up with this sort of Doobie Brothers, you know, Funk 49 kind of verse riff feel. And we knew it was a good song, but we didn't put it on the first album because we felt that and All Hell Breaks Loose were a similar vibe. And there just wasn't a room for it. But we sat on it and we knew we were going to use it.
Yeah.
And then again, when Nick came in, he made a couple of subtle changes, a couple of halftime changes in the pre-choruses that made it sound even more anthemic. And that was it.
Yeah, you know, both Sex, Guns and Gasoline and Bullet Blues, they existed in a demo form, and I have to give some credit to the head of our record company, Monty Connor, in New York. He would always bring those songs up. He'd go, "What about Bullet Blues? What about Sex, Guns and Gasoline?" And I know for the longest time we were just like, "Oh, we got better songs." We got that beat. And then that first day of working with Nick, straight out of the gate, both of those songs, he goes, "We're doing that us. Those are definitely on the list." So
fantastic. And I've got two more to talk about. Turn in Your Arms. Love song.
Again, I mean, it's a Scott Gorham. Scott came in with this real American Indian feeling kind of vibey riff, and you know, instantly it was like, well, okay, you know, I've got to write a lyric that's going to convey that and match that. And again, I'd seen something online where I think it was either Dakota or, you know, somewhere in the Northern Territories of a Native American Indian tribe on a billboard. And there's also a lot of debate about the gun law in America right now. You know, should guns be made, you know, hard to get access to, blah blah blah. And basically, there's a Native Indian tribe, and it's a turn in your arms. And basically, what it's saying, well, the last time you asked us to give up our guns, look what happened. You took all our land from us, and destroyed our culture and our heritage. So we ain't too sure if this is the right thing. And I just thought the whole concept, the whole idea was fantastic. And, you know, hence the sprung the song.
Fantastic. And the last song, You Little Liar.
yeah, that might be my other favorite song. On the
It's
album.
7.5 minutes long.
Yeah, man. Again, kudos to Nick. He really helped us develop that into another kind of an epic, you know. Great riff, man, right out of the gate, and you know, Ricky just immediately took it down a path that felt really good. It almost felt like an old Aerosmith song, something like Off the Toys in the Attic or Rocks. But then we go to the halftime. You know, the drums get really heavy and the bass is really washy, and I don't know, man. It's kind of our stoner album.
It's a stoner album, you know, and a simple lyric. I mean, it's it's self-explanatory. It's about somebody that lies a lot. It's compulsive lying.
Yeah.
I can't see the damage that they're doing, and you know, keeps lying because they think the more they lie, the more they get out of trouble. Obviously, it makes it worse. And you know, I wanted to keep the lyrics simple in that one because the riff was just so kind of huge. Didn't want to clutter it up. That was it, really.
Brilliant. Well, it's great talking about the album, The Killer Instinct, and the stories behind all those songs make it essential listening. And let's talk about your touring plans, because I know your last gig you did was actually the Legends of Rock Festival in Great Yarmouth in England, and come next February you're doing the Giants of Rock Festival. You just can't keep you away from little UK festivals, but you also in March are touring with Europe.
Yeah, I mean,
around the UK.
Same management, you know, we're both managed by the same management company. Good guys, friends of ours, great band.
Great band.
It's just a good bill, you know.
It's a fantastic value for money as well, you know.
And that's what it's all about. And they wanted to do it, we wanted to do it. It was a no-brainer. And you know, that's going to start things off for 2015.
And it is a double headliner, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's co-headline. You know, we're both playing the same set nights every night. And the plan is to tour as much as we can.
And would that be alternative every night, or
no,
it's not?
Europe are going to post.
Yep.
But we'll tour.
You can go to the bar, party, and
exactly. No, I mean the idea is to promote the album as much as possible. Stay out there next year.
And are you fans of Europe themselves? Do you appreciate what a good band they really are? Because they get sort of tarnished in one song. There's a lot more to them than just that. Yeah.
And I can speak for the rest of our band. We have a lot of respect for them, and certainly their entire history. But really, man, how they've evolved. Some of the music those guys have written and recorded over the last 10 years is some of the best stuff they've ever done. And they're just still very vital. You know, there's nothing tired or overtly classic. You know, like they're a vibrant, high-energy rock and roll band, and it's just, like you said, it's great value for the fans.
I think a lot of people haven't seen Europe live. They don't realise that there's a lot of sort of Deep Purple and UFO in their sound. You know, their roots go a long way back. You know.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And it doesn't hurt either that all those guys are big fans of Scott's.
Yeah, of course.
Scott's.
Yeah, and Scott Gessing with them actually in the Sweden Rock Festival last year.
Exactly.
So it's just, it's a real kind of brothers in arms type of thing, man. It's such a great package.
And there's actually there's 3 bands in the bill actually. I don't know if you're aware of the band, the Amorettes.
We are very much so.
From Glasgow, actually.
Well, they're on there because we're fans of them. They opened for us at Homeforth. We were blown away by them. We played with us at Steelhouse Festival. You know, Scottish. They're a great band. Obviously influenced by Adonis and Runaways. Great sound, great songs, and we wanted them on the bill.
Brilliant. So that's in March, and it starts in Dublin, Belfast, Glasgow, ends up in Shipperbush, right on my doorstep, so I'll be there both nights, looking forward to that. Damon, Ricky, it's been great talking to you. Wish you all the best. The album The Killer Instinct is out on 23rd of February, Nuclear Blast, 2015. I'll see you then.
Thanks, brother. Thank you.
All the best for the future. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.